Hello, welcome to an INFJ ramble. Yes, I am in a parking lot again, and today I'm going to make a video on INFJs being at war with themselves. And what do I mean by that? I think for most of our lives, because we are so contradictory, we always have, I want to say, like that angel devil kind of thing going on, you know. So you have like, and I feel like it's a battle between, like, is it our mind and our heart, or is it just a battle going on in our heads? Because we have a tendency to overthink and overanalyze and just loop a situation over and over and over, which isn't a bad thing. I think that's what makes us excellent problem solvers. And then it also gives us keen insights into, like, things that most people wouldn't necessarily consider, you know? Yeah. So I feel like, especially when you're younger and maybe when you're less self-aware, there was definitely a war going on within yourself. It's like you're fighting yourself. And I feel like maybe sometimes we sabotage ourselves, you know? As you get older, and I mean, I'm not at the end of the road yet, so I haven't gotten the full picture. But based off of my personal experiences, I think as you get older, you have you're more inclined to not want to fight the war anymore, and you just kind of go with the flow. You just start accepting things radically. You start recognizing what is within your control, what is not within your control, what's worth your time, attention, energy, what's not worth your time, attention, and energy. And then you kind of, for me anyways, I've come to a point where I recognize that I am not responsible for other people's life experiences. I'm not responsible to heal someone else. I am not responsible to cater to someone else's emotions. You know, that's something that they need to learn, you know. And the thing is, I think we've externalized our help and care for so long, you know, that there's definitely a form of self-neglect that goes along with that, you know. Because think about it, and I might have mentioned this in previous videos, like, say you can sense or feel that someone is under some type of emotional distress, you know. We have a tendency to just want to go in there and fix, you know, but we don't realize that maybe the person doesn't want help, or maybe the person isn't ready for your help, and maybe this person needs to experience things in order to come to their own conclusions. And, you know, instead of allowing people to come to you for help, you're kind of like offering your services, almost to some degree forcing your services upon others. And again, this is another thing that is kind of contradictory, because, you know, on one hand, you want to be like a considerate human being, you know, and you want to be there to support others and their success. But at what cost? You know, you're sacrificing yourself. You are putting yourself in situations that will drain you of your vital energy. And then sometimes you come across people who, like, just don't want the help. So you know what I mean? You're offering your services to people who don't want your services. So yeah, it's almost like you have to step back and you have to recognize these impulses that you feel that may interfere with, you know, someone else's experience. And then just kind of retract. It's hard though, because you have, I don't know about you guys, but I have like this knee-jerk reaction to, like, if I see someone that's in need, or they look like they're down and out, or, You know, they look like they might need help. It's like I automatically have this drive to want to help them. It's like a knee-jerk reaction, you know? And then as I get older, I'm like, hey man, I've been exhausting myself. I've been neglecting myself. I've been, to some degree, allowing myself to be abused. For what, you know? So it's very interesting, you know? This war that we have going on within ourselves. And then I think, like, the first way to remedy this is acknowledging that you have this war going on, and you do have these habits and patterns that may or may not be beneficial to you or others, you know? And then just kind of like getting to the core of that and changing. Yeah, it's a very strange place to be in, you know, but I guess the ultimate question that you want to ask is, what is your priority? Is peace your priority? Because peace is my priority. I've come to the conclusion that peace is my priority. And if someone isn't bringing me peace, is it really that someone though? Or is it yourself? Think about it. Because say something outside of you is disturbing. I feel like those things are occurring, but your reaction, your perception, your response to this external thing is what will determine whether you feel peace or dis-ease. You know, and even the war, it's like you're creating a war within yourself. So at some point you have to recognize that you are doing that to yourself, and you need to just kind of wave the white flag within yourself and say, hey, I recognize that there are opposing aspects of myself within myself, and they are fighting for control on how I should proceed in life. But I don't want to be caught up in these. And a lot of the times these are thoughts, you know, like, oh, you should do this. No, but you should do this. Which is totally opposing, right? So I feel like you need to find a place within yourself and get really clear. So peace is my priority. I am not going to entertain things that butt against each other. And I know there's all these contradictory things and ideas and thoughts and happenings, but I'm just going to kind of like allow those things to play out and do what they need to do, and I'm going to retain a stance of peace within myself, you know? And then if you think about it, when you're in like a place of peace, that's when you get the most clarity. You're not confused, you're not being torn, you're not being pulled in different directions. You're just kind of like staying in a place of neutrality, and that's when you get the most clarity, and that's when you get the most peace, and that's when you just kind of like allow everything and everyone, including yourself, to be just as you are. It's kind of like in like meditative literature, they say to kind of like just watch your thoughts like they're clouds in the sky. But then that's applicable to like everything, you know, you just kind of watch things. And it's weird because, again, for me, it's like, okay, what separates the line between just being passive to being assertive? I feel like when you're clear within yourself, that will be clear to you too. You know, like when to be passive, when to be assertive, when to let people go through their own struggles, and when to like intervene, you know? But constantly doing and trying and being confused and conflicted and worrying and being like, I don't know, being pulled in directions because of fear. This is exhausting, guys. And we need to nip, or I mean, you don't need to, but for me, I need to nip this in the bud so that I can live peacefully with clarity despite what's going on around me and inside of me. You know? I think this is a learned behavioral trait as you get older. Because you know, when you're younger and you just don't know any better. You just don't know. You're like in that experimental phase where you're like, okay, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? You know, like, oh, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do, which way to go, how to proceed. But then as you get older and then you garner enough experience, you just realize what's worthwhile and what's not worthwhile. And you also recognize we're in a dimension of deterioration, so you can try to hold something together as much as you want to, but you're just prolonging the deterioration process. Oh my goodness. Can I talk? Can I talk clearly? Yeah, and then things are constantly changing, so it's almost like if you don't change with the change, you're just fighting the change, and that's exhausting. So it's all about energy management, you know? My mom would always tell me, like, pick and choose your battles wisely. And this isn't a well thought through thought, but currently in my current phase of life, I'm just in a phase where I just, like, don't want to participate in anything. I mean, I am here, and that is my participation to the world. But as far as like meddling or like interfering or overextending or getting stuck in like mind loops, no, thank you. No, thank you. You know, and I think that's why being present in every moment is so essential. And it's hard for people to do that, to like really bring themselves back and ground themselves in the present moment. I know it's hard for me, especially when I have a tendency to just be a explorer of my mind and my internal atmosphere, you know, and it's like the exploration is endless, but to some degree, you know, if you get lost exploring and you miss out on being here currently, right now, in this present moment, that can take you for a ride down some rabbit holes. Anyways, I don't know if I'm making sense, and I don't know if my point came across. We were talking about INFJ being at war with themselves, and yes, I think in the beginning phases of our life, this is a natural process that we have to move through. And then as you get older, it's like all about energy management. You know, is this worth my time and energy? Oh, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and I'm going to just constantly ground myself in the present moment, bring myself back to the present moment, bring myself back to the present moment. It's like anything, you know, repetition is required, and also like, you know, exercising that muscle so that you can function in the most holistic and effortless way possible, you know? Anyways, I mean, how do you gauge? And you know, you know what? If something is consistently draining you of energy, then you limit your time with that. You know, and if something refuels you, then you spend more time with that. It's kind of like picking and choosing what you choose to digest or consume. You know what I mean? I don't think is it running away? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I also find myself constantly throwing myself in to situations that are unknown, you know? And I find that helps me to exercise my adaptability muscle. It helps me to not be so much in my head about something where, you know, I can't make moves. It's like, no, just make moves. You know, like, yeah, you can like sit around and think about something for like eons, but if you don't follow it up with action or movement, nothing happens. Anyways, I hope you're having a beautiful day or night, wherever you are. And if you learned something cool, if you didn't learn anything, that's cool too. Blessings to one and all. Amen.